Mkatie basi.
Sawa.
Cheki. Leta basi kitu.
Sijale.
Yo, wacha tunasijale. Sinoka na hivi.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Are you Mr. David Motete?
Yes, sir.
Hope you've given out your statement.
Yes, sir.
The government. What on the plan?
I proceed, sir?
Yeah, proceed.
Thank you. I, Dr. David Matete Mulewa, do swear that the evidence I shall give before this committee on the matters under its consideration shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God.
We shall start with the introduction.
Oscar Wanje represent Uganda, member of the committee.
Majority leader and member of this country.
Radia Omar, member of this committee.
Jarguni, member of this committee.
Mwambire Mohamed Bamba, member of the country.
And I'm Edward Zero, the chairperson of this committee. Also from the secretariat.
Abdul Barik, clerk of the committee.
I'm Walidi Katibu, I also clerk the committee.
Harold Sipa, Secretary.
Lilian Garland, the principal clerk in charge of committee.
Silas Mulewa, deputy chair.
So welcome Mr. David Matete, Health. People of family comes to the County Assembly $20 could mandate among others to make an improvement in use the appointment to various officers. We will engage you to administer your stability, or rather I will be holding the office you have been nominated. So feel free, welcome. We also want to know who you are.
Thank you. A very good afternoon, honorable members. My name is Dr. David Matete Mulewa, born and grown in Malindi on the 24th of March 1973. I started my journey in primary education at Kilifi Primary School in 1979. I did my Kenya Certificate of Primary Education in 1987. Thereafter, I was admitted at Malindi High School in 1988, and I completed successfully my Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education in 1991. And I got a partial scholarship to study medicine and surgery at the state of Ukraine, Vinnytsia, in Ukraine. And I did my journey. I started my journey in this medical profession in 1992. I graduated in the medical school in 1999 as a medical doctor, general physician. Thereafter, I took some time off a little. Wanted to do postgraduate, but I was not able to do that abroad. So I came back home in 2005. I registered with the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council. I did an exam. I passed and I was posted to Kitale District Hospital as a medical officer to do internship, and thereby was absorbed in the Ministry of Health as a medical officer. And there my career began as a medical professional. I worked for Kitale District Hospital in 2006. Then I got a transfer to Marekani District Hospital in 2007. And I was lucky within the same year, I was appointed the medical superintendent. And I worked for 1 year at Marekani. Then I was appointed the district medical officer of health for Kilifi district and Bahari district then in Kilifi in 2008, a position that I held up to until 2013 when devolution came in. I was lucky and was among the very first coordinators of health appointed by the Ministry of Health then. But I was then posted to Lamu County as the first coordinator for health. And then later, 1 year after that, I was appointed the county director for health services for Lamu County, a position that I held up to 2019 when I was, I got lucky on transfer of service. I was posted to Kilifi County as the director for medical services, a position that I held up to date. Then about 2 months ago, I was appointed the acting chief officer for health services for Kilifi County. Dr. Blair.
Thank you for that input. And the next question, and we try to be audible for the purpose of so we have a few questions from Laura that I think we and the first question is, we applied for the post of chief officer. I mean, maybe you will have your position, what's your duties, and how will you perform the duties, the benefits of the
Thank you, sir. I think the position of the chief officer usually is also accompanied as the authorized officer, and the responsibilities are categorized into 4. As a chief officer, I will have financial responsibilities as well as operational responsibilities. I will also be responsible for managerial responsibilities as well as supervisory responsibilities. As an accounting officer, financial responsibilities will extend to management of assets and liabilities for the department. I will be responsible for the development, formulation, and implementation of the county budget for the health department. I will be responsible for proper utilization of resources that are allocated to the Department of Health. I will be charged to the responsibility of overall administration of day-to-day operations of the department in terms of service delivery. One of the critical roles will also be to manage the workforce, that is human resource for health of the department. I will also, as an authorized officer, exercise on delegated powers with the CEC, carry out or conduct duties that will be allocated to me by the CEC time after time. I will be responsible also for general supervision of the service delivery as a unit for health department, overall management of the department, day-to-day operations for the health facilities will also be under me. But more importantly, I will be the one responsible for generating both annual and quarterly reports that will be tabled to you, honorable members, by the CEC on financial issues and general service delivery as mandated by the constitution of this country for the health department.
Yes, Dr. Lewa, I'm having one question. As the Director of Medical Services, you know that the COVID-19 pandemic exposed the ill state of our health facilities. I am a victim. I lost my first cousin brother through this pandemic because of lack of preparedness to handle this pandemic, lack of ICU facilities, and many other things. As the person fronted today, position of chief officer in this docket, what plan do you have so that the people of Kilifi shall not go through what they went through during the pandemic?
Thank you, honorable member, madam, and I'm sorry for the loss. Healthcare system is a very complex system, and you will agree with me that during this COVID pandemic, nobody was actually prepared for this. We have been doing contingency plans, we have been doing preparedness plans for cholera, for other conditions, but this was a very complex condition that nobody anticipated that would even think of planning. And one of the critical issues about the COVID is the need for oxygen. And I think it was a wake-up call because we were already in planning to have an intensive care unit for this county. But honorable members, please, I'd like to explain a bit there that having an ICU building and having a bed, the equipment, the ventilators, the infusion pumps, that is one thing. But it is totally different thing to have that as a service. So ICU is actually a service which is very complex and it requires a lot of resources. To operate just one bed ICU as a service, you require about 380,000 per week. That is at the lowest. You could even go to 1 million, 1.5 million just for the service. And the reason for this is that the consumables that are required are very expensive, one. Two, there are other accessories that will complement the bed, the ICU bed. We have infusion pumps. You see, this client who is on bed cannot feed himself, so you need a special machine that will be required to feed this patient intravenous. So the food is put and it is guided by that machine. So the reason why we were not able, and I'm very proud to sit here today, honorable members, because I was the brain behind operationalization of the complex, which is called Kilifi Medical Complex. It took me about 3 months planning on how I can operationalize that complex. But the most intensive were 3 weeks to the opening. And the reasoning is that you could have the bed, ICU bed, you even have oxygen piping, but then this client, once it's there, it's a service. There is no way you can tell this patient, hatuna IV fluids, hatuna this kind of drugs because it is in the procurement, hatuna. So once you put a patient on the ICU bed, you must make sure that you have projected the consumables, all of them, for about 2 months or 3 months, all right? And you need to procure those in advance. So they cannot go through the normal procurement process because of the lead time. So you always have to get a buffer of around 3-4 months to 6 months. So, but I had an opportunity to study, and finally we are there. We have operationalized 2 beds, ICU in Kilifi. The complex has a capacity of around 11 ICU beds and 11 HDU beds. The difference is that once you are off the machines from ICU, then we'll take you to the HDU, high dependency unit, for you to your body to peak before we take you to the general ward. Now the biggest challenge is the resources to be able to run to full capacity. So we decided to do gradually, and we believe now that by June this year we should have operated half of the beds that we have, because now we are putting back the monies that we are getting from that complex to operational those highly specialized services. So, honorable member, I'm very sorry for that, but as I sit here today, if I'm successful, I will be able to have both financial responsibilities and operational responsibilities as a chief officer. Then I can link the two and be able to operationalize fully. Right now, the complex is working around to 60%. We have 40% that we're still struggling to full, operationalization. And I believe most of the specialized services, including the ICU, the HDU, highly specialized theaters that we have, will be in full capacity by June next year, God willing.
Mr. Chair, just to add to what Mheshimiwa was talking about, Daktari, we are not off the hook. COVID is still there. Are we ready? If we go back, if we wake up tomorrow and we are back to 2020, are we ready?
Yes, we are ready. The only thing is that we have to split two things. There's a lot of intensive interventions that have to take place at the community for protection first. But should you have COVID, of course the virus, due to time, our bodies have started, developing some kind of immunity plus the vaccines. So we are not going to get the severe conditions like what we had before. However, should that happen, we are prepared because we have operationalized the accident and emergency unit with observation bed to a capacity of 50 beds. We have ICU beds which are already, we're just waiting to procure a few accessories, then we can operate fully. We have an oxygen plant, which is very critical. We used to buy cylinders from BOC, but now we have 2 actually oxygen plants, and we have 1 oxygen generator. So should any of the plants fail, we still have a backup plan, and I think oxygen for COVID is the most critical in terms of treatment. But the only hitch that we are not prepared, and I believe your honorable members are going to have, is to have a CT scan. Because with COVID, once you are really down, the first line diagnosis for that is to do a chest CT scan. Then you will be able to know for sure what level of damage your lungs have. Because we could put you on oxygen, but we don't know what level of your lungs have been already affected. Probably we need to have some other interventions other than just pumping oxygen in your lungs, which cannot even absorb. So a CT scan will be very critical. That is the only hitch we have at the moment. We have already started the procurement process for the CT scan, and from procurement to delivery of a CT scan will require a minimum of 4 months, which means that if we supplementary budget goes through, then the earliest we can have a CT scan is April next year. So that I am foreseeing to be a little bit of a hitch should we have COVID today.
Daktari, you've been working as our director and now acting as the chief officer. I don't know if you're aware of how our health facilities are operating. I'll give you an example of where I come from, in Mariakani. And our Mariakani hospital has a lot of challenges. Right now, and through the chair, in fact, he's been also following it up closely. Our lab is not working. And the machines that are operating at the lab, we use the medical terms, they are not working. And I think the problems there are man-made because most of our medical staff have their clinics outside. So usiende pale kupigwa picha ndio utoke nje uende ukapigwe kule. This is something that if you get this opportunity, you really need to look into. And then our dispensaries like Mazimbani dispensary is working with no power. Fine, hata kama kazi ni asubuhi mpaka jioni, there is no power. Shangia dispensary, the buildings are so bad. Kamkomani, the same story. I don't know at what extent does that department visit hizi hospitali zetu za nyanjani kuangalia how well they are equipped and if our machines are operating, because mwananchi anateseka sana.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. I think these are some of the problems that inspire me to wanting to be in this position. Healthcare system is very complex. I'll give you an example. The machines that we have in this county are worn out. Most of them are worn out. So we have invested in machines. Yes, we have machines, but they're worn out. And I'll give you a very practical example. The MRI, or magnetic resonance imaging equipment we have at Malindi Sub-County Hospital is completely outdated. It is like you have a smartphone and what you can do with a smartphone and a kabambe. And what we have is a kabambe. The CT scan, which is non-functional right now, is a 16-slice CT scan. Let me explain to you. If this is a tissue that is damaged and you want to know what the problem with this tissue of this thickness, so if you have a 16-slice machine, what that means is it cuts into slices. So, you know, the difference is it goes to a very tiny slice, so it will be able to pick the disease quickly. But if it cuts into big pieces, like the 16, there are high probability that you are not going to pick the disease. Mpaka baadaye ukijashtuka huyo mgonjwa kama ni cancer ime advance. So what we are saying is we need to upgrade our machines. The CT scan that we want to buy is a 64 slice. So the same tissue will be cut into 64 slices. So there's probability that if there's a condition or infection or cancerous, tumor, whatever, it will be picked. But if we still continue using the machines, now coming to Nigeria, we have two machines, full hemogram machines. One is big capacity machine. It processes 50 samples in 1 hour, 50 samples. But it consumes huge volumes of reagents. So if you don't have 50 samples in 1 hour, then you are getting into a loss because it will use the same amount of reagents for 2 samples or 3 samples, right? So what they have is a backup machine, which is a smaller capacity. But then the problem that I will endeavor to handle is maintenance plan of our equipment also is a problem. We do not have an existing maintenance plan for our machines. Some of the machines are procured. There is no even service contracts, right? Somebody procures machine, iko pale, but if it gets damaged, then nobody is going to repair. Another thing is, apart from service contract, is capacity building for biomedical engineers. Most of them are diploma. We call them engineers, but they're diploma. We don't even have an engineer, a degree biomedical engineer in this county. So some of these cadres have been omitted. Always when we send requests to the County Public Service Board for recruitment, you will hear that they're recruiting doctors, they're recruiting nurses, but these other cadres are left out, which are also very critical to have a working system. So these are some of the things, if you give me the opportunity, I will be able to sort out as quickly as possible.
Thank you. And I think I didn't try to be brief so that we have another 2 or 3
Sure. You see, from the explanation,
there's a build-up question that comes in. So if you allow me, I can proceed. Thank you, Dr. Mlewa, and I'm glad that you are from the previous regime and you know exactly what is paining the department. My question is, you have been in the department, yes, but these issues being raised by Mheshimiwa, you have been there as a director. So could you please tell this committee what was hindering you and what will be now of ease when you are in that position now to implement the same programs? Secondly, I'm glad you mentioned about the CT scan because it is a very thorny issue in Kilifi County at large. So many cases of CT scan. Now it's very shameful that they are being referred to a very upcoming private hospital called Murphy. That's an hospital that can afford to run a CT scan whereby our people are being referred there. Not alone the CT scan. Various blood tests are also referred outside the hospital. And the government is the mother of all these things. What plans do you have now to make sure that all these tests can be comfortably be handled in the hospitals or public hospitals once you are given that opportunity?
Thank you, Dr. One of the things that I will endeavor to do is one, upgrading the equipment that we have, including the CT scan. The CT scan that we have, as I explained, is unable to assist us. So we need to have a modern CT scan with a maintenance plan for that CT scan. The same with laboratory and many other imaging facilities that we have. And to respond to your question, Mheshimiwa, about why are these things there, and I was the director. I just want to explain that the position of the director is the technical head of the department, and the responsibilities are mostly operational and supervisory, but very rare on delegated can have financial responsibility. But you'll agree with me, honorable members, that some issues in Kenya you cannot handle, I mean with the county, you cannot handle. You have to accompany the operational responsibility with financial responsibilities. Because I will be stuck. I want to upgrade this equipment, but the one who has to make the decision to upgrade that machine, because technically I know this machine is not going to help, but I don't have financial responsibility. I have to rely to somebody who has financial responsibility to take that decision to upgrade this machine. So that was the hitch. And that's why I'm saying now, since I will have the financial responsibility added to my responsibility now, I'll be able to do, because I understand what kind of machines we need, how should we, maintain them, but most importantly, training of our staff, who are supposed to be trained to which level to be able to operate these machines. So I think it will be sorted.
Through the chair. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. And Doctor, mine will are just two questions. One is if you are aware that there are these health workers, community health workers, that are not in the county payroll as we speak, and they are operating as cash shops. So what is your role in ensuring that these important personnel are accommodated, plus ensuring that the wage bill isn't exaggerated? Number two, if you are also aware that in this county we have so many stalled projects in regards to health department. I'm talking of stalled dispensaries, and these are very important facilities in our areas. So like in my area there is a Mkaumoto dispensary that has been almost 5 years without being developed. So what is your plan to such projects? And the last one will be, there are huge populations in our area, in Kilifi County, that do not have access to dispensaries. So what is your strategy to ensure that everyone who has the right, because it's in the laws and constitution that everybody has a right to access to medical services. So what is your plan to ensure that huge population, they do have access to dispensary? Let's say in my area, Kitutanga, with almost 40,000 people who don't have a dispensary.
Thank you, honorable member, for those questions. I'll start with one. Community health strategy. This is a policy that was developed in 2007. And the basic principle on community health strategy was actually on volunteerism. These are people that who are selected within their communities and are supposed to take responsibilities for their own health without any kind of payment. And that is why the government changed later and called them community health volunteers. So it's no longer community health workers, because if you call them community health workers, then they are eligible for payment. However, having said that, there has been a lot of policy discussions as to whether they should be given stipend, whether they should be, because these people are supposed to take care of about 20 to 50 households. Mtu anatoka, anaenda, akazungukia other families to see their health conditions, and then in the evening, there's nothing to offer. So it has been a very big issue. We have over 5,000 community health volunteers in this country. 5,000, around, to be exact, 5,300 community health volunteers. So we have been struggling. If we put them in the payroll, we shall sink, because the technical healthcare workers already, they are 1,000, around 1,500. So if we include the 5,000 from healthcare, community health volunteers, then we are sinking the payroll completely. So what we are trying, my plan is, and we have already started, and I think last week, some of you honorable members were supposed to go to Mombasa for policy. We are developing a policy. It's called the Kilifi County Community Health Policy. Within that policy, we are trying to develop some kind of incentivization for these community health workers, understanding that we cannot put them on payroll, but we should compensate them somehow. And we cannot do that currently. Laws prohibit us to do that. But if we develop, and I'm really taking this opportunity to request honorable members, once that policy comes to you, kindly consider it, because it will give a roadmap on how we can incentivize these community health volunteers. Second question is about stalled projects. As we speak, Mheshimiwa, I have put budget for all projects. We have given priority. We have not put much of new development projects. We have put a few of those very critical, but we want to deal with the stalled projects. And the issue was about payments. Most contractors deserted site because payment has not been forthcoming. And one of the things that I'm going to do once I take office, if I'm successful, is to make sure that I design a checklist. If you are a supplier or a contractor and we have budgeted for a certain project, why should you wait for 6 months for you to get paid if you have done the job? So we shall have a checklist within the department that if you have done or you have supplied something and it is in the budget, we'll be checking, and we already started designing something that if you are a contractor, you'll just log in USSD and check the status of your voucher or status of your payment, where it is, because we shall be checking. Imeingia kwa procurement, iko wapi, and I will personally be following through a dashboard so that I can know ikipita 1 month, then that is an X in terms of performance. But I want to try a maximum of 2 weeks. You should be having your money in the account. Then with that, I'm hoping the stalled project issue will be done with, because most of this is because of cash, what we are liquid. The other bit is that about
A huge population.
huge population not accessing. According to WHO guidelines, in a in a radius of about 5 kilometers, we are supposed to have a dispensary. In a radius of about in a population of about 10,000 people, we are supposed to have a health center. Mheshimiwa, I can assure you, we have upgraded health centers now into level 4 hospitals. Marafa, Rabai, Bamba, Mtwapa, they are now hospitals gazetted. That is first step. So second step is to upgrade the infrastructure of these facilities to offer services at that level. My next step is to upgrade now dispensaries into health centers. And my vision is to have a health center. Why a health center? Even if it is possible in every ward, especially those which have a huge population. Why is this? Is because a level 3 or health center, we have inpatient services, and we operate 24 hours. All right, we don't have weekends for health centers. Now the problem we have is we have very few of these facilities. We have dispensaries. Dispensaries, according to the policy, they are not operating on weekends, and they don't operate 24 hours. And that's why, if you don't have a health center in a ward or 2 wards, then people are suffering, because now the next stop is maybe a health center or a hospital which is over 50 kilometers or so. So I'm trying to reduce the distance by upgrading facilities. Now, once I upgrade dispensaries into health centers, it will create vacancy for more dispensaries. Then we can have dispensaries, and we are hopeful that we shall have every 5 kilometers to have a dispensary. The only hitch will be human resource, but that I think is something that we shall negotiate with you.
Kindly allow me, Mr. Chair, because it's a follow-up question from what you just mentioned, because what you are just talking about, human resource, if these dispensaries are built, and if you are aware that several dispensaries in Kilifi counties work with limited staffs and equipment, so you've added more dispensaries, and there is already a shortage of limited staffs in the dispensary. What is your plan towards this?
Yes, I have a plan. Mheshimiwa, I have a plan. The nurse, right currently, the nurse to population ratio, as we speak, is 25 nurses is to 10,000 nurses. The doctor to the doctor to population ratio right now is 1 doctor is to 10,000 population. This is the county status, but the international norms and standards, all right, prescribe that 1 doctor is to 1,000. 25 nurses is to 10,000, but we have 4 nurses to 10,000 right now. So I've realized we need to do 2 things. One, we need to rationalize staff. We can't avoid that. As we speak, you'll find we have healthcare workers who are on payroll, but they're not working for this county. So what I did about 3 months ago, we did what is called, this headcount does not help us. We've done it so many times. It won't help us. What we did is payroll cleansing, right? We go name by name. Wewe uko wapi? Unafanya kazi wapi? Okay? We did that, and we found out that we had 167, healthcare workers who are on payroll, but they are being paid, but they are working somewhere else. Others are even in US, others in United. So we stopped salary, and now in the process of removing them from the register. So that is one step. We saved around 67 million from that only, payroll cleansing. The other bit is the duplication of activities. I'll give you a practical example. If you go to the ward today, we have 10, subordinate staffs. Huyu anafagia, huyu ni kutoa dustbin, huyu ni kutandika, huyu ni kufanya hivi. 10 people. But we can rationalize that by bundling of activities. That's what I'm trying to do. What basically that means is we are going to have one person who is going to do housekeeping. So we are giving you 2 stats. that is 12 beds, you are doing housekeeping, you are doing everything. So wewe ndio utatoa dustbin, wewe ndio utatandika, wewe ndio utasafisha katika hizo 12 beds zako. You do housekeeping for all that. Most of hotels are doing that. So I don't know why we can't do that in our hospitals. It will because I can assure you Mheshimiwa, right now out of the 10 I'm talking about, utaenda ikifika saa 5 hakuna mtu. Yule wa kutoa dustbin ametoa, ameenda zake. Yule wa kutandika ametandika, ameenda. So we have about 8 hours that somebody is either idle and atatafuta kitu cha kufanya. But if you do housekeeping well, watakuwa na kitu ya kufanya the whole day. So we'll reduce the number. We'll only have 5 people in the ward and another 5 probably. What we are lacking in Kilifi and I want to introduce is patient assistant. So we're going to introduce another cadre there that is called patient assistant. Huyo ndiye atakuwa anasaidia mgonjwa kutoka kwa kitanda, kama ni kwenda bafu, kumuosha nini, arudi kwa kitanda. So we need to introduce that. This is one of the things that I want to do.
Okay, thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you. I think we have one more question
Daktari,
Yes.
health is a new world of human being.
Yes.
But most people, especially in the rural, poor, they lose their life due to less diagnosis or misdiagnosis or long distance. As a medical doctor, once approved, what can you do differently to help save lives of these people? That is one. 2, you will be among the advisors to the government. In his manifesto, he wants to build a referral hospital at one university. Now that you've told us that the new complex is underutilized at 60%, what advice can you give that? My third question is, if you are aware, now that you stayed in the department for 3 months, that there are some other staffs, like my sub-county hospital, that is Bama. There are other staffs, I think they were subordinate staff, who are not at work. They were stopped from coming to work. But their NSSF and NHIF are still paid by the council. What is happening?
Thank you, Honorable Member for Bamba. Start with your first question. This is about the Bill of Rights as enshrined in the Article 43, chapter, I think it's chapter 4 of the Kenyan Constitution, section 1, the right to life, right? The Article 43, the right for high attainable standard of healthcare. What I'm going to do are 3 things. 1, I need to strengthen the referral system in this country. We do not have a referral system. Referral system is not getting a patient from point A to B. The referral system has 4 components. There is parameter referral. The parameter referral will refer to, I take an X-ray here, I take it to the radiologist, read, tells me what it is, I prescribe. The specimen referral. Specimen is, I don't have a lab here. I just get the specimen, I send it to the lab, and get results within 10 minutes. Then there is specialist referral. We have consultants. We have 39 consultants in this country. One of the biggest in this country, right? Number of consultants. So let them not be situated in the hospitals. Let them go and do outreaches in the farmland dispensaries and health centers. So this is expert referral. So we will be, instead of picking a patient from Bamba to Kilifi, it will be cheaper for us to take the surgeon, consultant surgeon, to go to Bamba and do the operations there. And what I've started doing this is I am broadening the scope of services, and you'll agree with me. We've opened Bamba Theatre, we are opening Marafa Theatre, we've opened Rabai Theatre, we have broadened the scope of services at the Kilifi County Referral Hospital, we have now 7 theaters. And the reason is that we want to get the consultants going to do the operation. We don't want patients to be brought to Kilifi. And I've already started. The surgeon from Kilifi goes to Bamba twice a week and is operating there. So this is reducing the burden of patients moving. Right. 2, I want to strengthen the referral system by having a unit separate. I am a doctor. If you tell me now to operate a motor vehicle, I will do that my one, but not the ambulance. An ambulance is a service, it's not the vehicle. It's a life-saving service. And that is why, as we speak here, I've already issued instructions, no services for ambulance, no charges for ambulance services in this county. All right? But I want that to be far more organized as a unit. And we are going to call that unit as emergency medical services. It will be out of the, it will be a unit out of the department, so that whenever you are in this county, you could just dial a number and somebody will pick the coordinates where you are and send and dispatch an ambulance. This ambulance will not have, it is burdening to get a nurse from the ward. I gave ambulance in the we have paramedics. So we identify suitable people, we train them. It only takes 2 weeks to train a paramedic. And both of them, the driver and the other, both of them can handle a patient. All right? They both drive, and it will reduce the cost, and it will be faster, and we won't have, so the issue of picking patients won't be the nurses anymore. It will be paramedics. All right? And it will be a unit that we are going to budget separately. We are trying to see if that can have more resources in the Department of Disaster, so that we have that as a unit. So that kama kuna issue mahali, in an ambulance and the gari ya fire, so they respond together. All right? So that we offload the Department of Health from managing the ambulance services. So that this is someone going to apply. So that is one of the strategies that we're going to use, and hopefully within 2 years we should be there. Then the other question, Mheshimiwa, I'm sorry, it has slipped the last question. If you don't mind.
The second question was, how would you advise
the government on level 6? Yes, sorry. Now, level 6 is a tertiary institution. The advantages of having a level 6 in any county: 1, you will attract grants. The national government gives grants to level 6, like Coast General, Kenyatta University Hospital, Eldoret, Moi, teaching and referral. You get grants from the national government, right? That is one of the advantages. The second advantage is to attract grants from research, right? So if you have a teaching, referral and research institute, then you are also attracting scholars from other countries to come and do their research there, and they pay for that, and actually it's huge amounts of money. But when it comes to services, the advantage is that if it is a teaching hospital, you don't even need to employ many doctors or consultants. The teaching staff in that hospital are the same ones who are going to offer services. So you don't incur cost to hire more people. So the university will pay them. What is happening with Kenyatta University? University of Nairobi employs the lecturers, but they also offer services at Kenyatta Hospital, and there is facilities.
According to the government manifesto,
Yes.
we have already know the new governments.
Yes.
And again, according to the government manifesto, the EU intends to have another,
Yes.
to build another teaching and referral hospital
Yes.
at Human University.
Yes.
So the key question is, why can't we convert the company, or how do we update the government now?
Yes. That's what. Sorry, that's what I'm trying to explain the difference between the Kilifi County Referral Hospital is a level 5. It's a level 5 hospital. It's a gazetted level 5 hospital. But the infrastructure that is within that hospital is for level 4. Right? The infrastructure is for level 4. So there is no way we will jump to level 6 in KCH, and we have no land to expand. All right? So we cannot do level 6 at the current hospital, Kilifi County Referral. And every county, by the way, is supposed to have one level 5 and a level 6. So level 5 is the county referral hospital, and that is the Kilifi County Referral Hospital. So what the governor is trying to do is to have the level 6 now, so that we can also attract medical tourism. We can also offload the payroll by employing doctors, because the teaching staff will also provide services, and then to attract the governor.
A very last question that we had a very wonderful time studying this I think in any relation to the refugee lack of political understanding of the government.
Yes, related, yes. The government is my brother, blood brother. He's my cousin. But I'm not here, sorry. Can I continue? Yes. Yes. I know the context as to why honorable member is asking those questions. I don't shy off, I won't lie. Yes, they are my relatives. The government is my brother. But let me assure you, I'm not here because of the government. If it was because of the government, I would be somewhere even probably higher than the position I want. Because of that. But I'm here because of my merit. I believe I have the knowledge, I have the technical know-how. I've went through school. If you look into my documents, I did masters in specific health system management and application. And this is exactly what we need in managing the health system in Kenya, in this county. So I believe I have 16 years experience as a health manager, 16 years. And after all, I was employed by the former government, the former administration. So the governor, my brother comes in, I was already the director. So is he going to sack me now? Because I'm the director anyway, and on my own merit. Right? So I believe I can do it. I've done it before. You could even get some information from Lamu, how I did. I went to Lamu with paralyzed. The system, healthcare system was down. But now we have Kilifi, we have a CT scan in Kilifi. So I believe I can do it at home. Thank you.
Last year, that there are some staff who are taught from working from some councils. But as up to date, when we check the NHA and the NSF are still paid by the council, does this mean that their salaries are still there and they are withdrawn by someone else within there? Now that you say you did a cleaning of the payroll, did you find that?
I don't remember, I need to find out. First of all, which category of health was this? Because if they are in payroll as in recruited staff by the County Public Service Board, there is nobody who can stop them from working unless certain procedures are followed. So probably the stuff you're talking about are what are commonly known as casuals, right? Now, casuals are managed by the Public Service Management and Administration Department. We don't interfere with the payroll. So if there is somebody that is removed from the payroll, then it is the Public Service Management who should we should respond. However, this is something that noted. Kindly, Mheshimiwa, if I could get details, then I can assure you I will get to the bottom and find out what really transpired.
Yeah, Dr. Lewa, myself, it is public knowledge that there is investment and appropriation of government funds by medical staff in charge of health facilities. How will you address the issue of corruption, abuse of office, and the appropriation of funds in county hospitals?
Thank you, Honorable Member. I will approach this in two ways. One, it is the culture that I have to impress my colleagues to change. Let our staff understand that it is no business as usual. Financial integrity will start from myself and it will trickle down to everyone. How I'm trying to do this? One, we are going cashless. There is no healthcare worker in the months to come that will handle money from a patient. It will be cashless. And we have already engaged, and the discussions are already moving. We have already done demonstration of this system. That it will be very difficult for you as a healthcare worker to collect any shilling from any patient, because it will be noted outright. From my office, I will be able to see. It's real time. If you pay a shilling, I am already seeing that so and so has paid this. That is the system we want to introduce in all our hospitals. Two, there has to be punishment for evil that is done. And this I will rely on honorable members. If you steal money from a patient and to make quarter, the disciplinary process is usually very long for him to terminate you, because that's gross misconduct. You can summarily dismiss you. But the biggest hit is the process has to go all the way to county public service. The department has no mandate to terminate you even for gross misconduct. It is somebody else who must do that. As we speak now, we have several files that the county public service for them to make a decision. Because if we only require one or two people who will suffer because of this, and they think it will get into people that is wrong, and if you are accountable, there are repercussions. Sorry. Yes. Thank you, honorable members. I am really, if I'm successful, I am really hoping that I'll be able to work very closely with you. I have realized for many years as a health manager that if you don't work very closely with that, especially the health committee, you are doomed. In three ways. My financial responsibilities will entirely depend on the facilitation that I'm going to create. So what I'm trying to do, and I think if I'm successful, even if I'm not successful, I've already planned. Probably as a director, we shall be going with you for retreat, so that we will bring on board the committee and we have a common vision, so that we move together right from the word go. So we shall be somewhere 5 days, so that we have one common vision for all of us, and I'm relying on support.
My number one thing I think will be to have a very cohesive relationship with the health department and the health committee, the county assembly in Kilifi. And I'm hoping for your support so that we can move. I know what to do, but I can't do it alone. I will need a lot of support from you honorable members in terms of regulations and policies put in place so that we can move the agenda. So thank you very much, members, for this opportunity, and I'm looking forward to your objective,
So let me hope that whatever we just mentioned about and all that, right.
No, it's not. No, it's not. In fact, I want to have it routine. Yes. No, it's not a fright. It's something that I want to initiate, and we'll have it routinely, if it is possible, every quarter. We'll have to go and review together the progress of the department. And that's why I'm saying the first one, we need to put together our vision together. No.
That means whether you get a position or a director.
Yes, that's what I say. Whether I'm successful or not, as a director, we still go because it's something that was planned. Thank you, Honorable. Have a very good evening.